The following is a production of White Lightning Entertainment. This is Burning Rubber Radio.
They're crashing into the wall. Caution comes out of the checker. Joey Logano prevails in this first playoff race.
That's how we start the playoffs, boys. Yeah!
Burning Rubber Radio is brought to you by Drive Refine. It's more than driver coaching. It's Drive Refine. Visit driverefine.com to get signed up today. Now from the White Lightning Entertainment Studios in Statesville, North Carolina, here's your host, Andy DeLay.
Burning Rubber, baby! It's producer Wayne and the NASCAR chef John Dix this week here with you on Burning Rubber. And you're probably wondering, like, wait a minute, where's Andy again? Oh, no. Commander-in-Chief.
The alligators tackled him down in Florida and got him held up and tied up. So
I was going to say, they knew he had duck, and they're like, we want food. We want food.
That's what it was. Yeah, they're trying to get that duck from him.
That's exactly what they're trying to do, and I don't know if they're succeeding yet, folks. We'll keep you updated on that throughout the show here. But John, we had Bristol this past weekend, and actually
one of my favorite races. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I love me some good short track racing at Bristol Motor Speedway, but beyond that, we also had some NHRA stuff. We had Super Trofeo was out again this past weekend. IMSA was out this past weekend. There's some Ernie Francis Jr. news coming up later on here in the show. But folks, I'm not going to lie. This is a bittersweet announcement. And I wanted to get it out at the beginning of the show just so everybody knew what was going on. It's a bittersweet announcement. After 17 years, as everybody knows, we've been talking about it a little bit, kind of hinting at things that are going to be changing with the show coming in 2025. But due to some other, shall we say, predominant issues here, mental health, jobs, things like that, this show, as far as on our radio affiliates, so Radio St. Pete, Sunshine 96.7, the Performance Motorsports Network, all of our other affiliates, radio stations, Melted Faces Radio, WTUC in Toccoa, Georgia, everybody that's been a part of this show for 17 years, this is going to effectively be our last show on the radio. Mm-hmm. And with that, the reason for that, folks, and everybody knows that, obviously physical health is definitely a big thing, no matter how old you are. But one of the few things that is very rarely addressed anymore, which, in my opinion and Andy's opinion, and I think John's in agreement too on this one here, one of the things that needs to be addressed a lot more often are people's mental health. And with that being the case here, Andy being as busy as he is with stuff at the police department, with me being as busy with things that I've got going on, and John with everything he's got going on as well, it has pretty much become a thing where our mental health is kind of strained a little bit. So we're going to be taking a little bit of a break as far as any kind of broadcast stuff is concerned. But we are not forgetting social media. We will still be on Facebook. We will still be on Instagram. We're gonna rebuild our TikTok. We're gonna get X back up and going again. So we'll still be hanging out with you guys every single week, just in a different platform.
Yep, you're right, Wayne. And it's like you say, it's kind of sad news because we've been having a lot of fun for a lot of years, and enjoying everybody listening out there, and appreciate all the support we've been getting from our fans. But check us out on social media. We're still going to be there. We're still going to have fun, and we're going to keep you abreast of what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
For you guys who are on video, if you noticed, I wore one of my old team shirts.
I noticed that, John. Look at you, Mr. Fancy.
Yeah, wanted to wear it anyways because Stuart Haas had such a great weekend. You know, Cole won Friday night, and Chris still made the extended playoffs, and most of Stuart Haas's cars finished pretty good this weekend. So, Zippy and the boys were pretty happy. So, in tribute to them, I wanted to wear one of my old team uniforms that I still got, and
I'm sure
just have a little fun.
I'm sure Zippy, when he sees this episode, he's probably gonna be like, kiss ass.
Well, I'm hoping to see Zippy and the rest of them to hang out with them at Talladega coming up in a couple of weeks. But
very true.
That's going to be kind of a bittersweet time. Too. But we'll be if I do make it, we will be doing some little spots from there too, and some updates from the race.
It just seems like 2024 is full of a lot of bittersweet moments, isn't it?
Yep.
And but the big thing too, folks, and like we've been talking about over the last few weeks, even though we are effectively leaving the radio after this week's show, social media is still going to be a thing. And then coming in 2025, which that's the big reason we're taking so much time off, is getting everything prepared for a transition of sorts. We're still going to have the video stuff. So, obviously if we have drivers that want to come on and talk for a little bit, we're still going to be putting that up on social media. We're still going to be doing most of what we already do. But we're going to be changing things up and going into a podcast format for 2025, as everybody well knows. And with that being the case here, we're actually going to be breaking up the show into two different parts. So we're going to have a half hour on one release. We're going to have like a 15 to 20 minute piece on another release. So you're still going to get plenty of content from us, even up and into the 2025 season. It's just going to be a little bit more manageable for your brain. I think that would be the best way to put it.
Right. And the only difference, we're just not going to be doing an hour show anymore.
Right.
But we're still going to be there. We're still going to be giving you content, and follow us, and we're still going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, we're still going to have 150% fun. I mean, it's NASCAR after all, John. There's never a shortage of fun. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. Especially when we just had Bristol, baby.
Yeah, right. It's Bristol, baby. But we got to get to our sponsors here real quick, folks, before we get into our first commercial break here and talk about all the things that have shaken up after the Xfinity and the Cup Series races this past weekend at Bristol. The first one being Drive Refine. You got to go check out driverefine.com. Joey and Austin Terrio, Joey Coulter, Austin Terrio. Great folks there. The great thing to Drive Refine is that it's not driver coaching like you would think. It's something where they help you build a communication platform with your crew chief, with your team, with your teammates, and hell, who knows?
You and I got to see that firsthand, Wayne, last year at Hickory, and I was really impressed. They really worked with our drivers. So.
100%, hands down, they really did. And again, folks, it's not just driver coaching, it's Drive Refine.
Drive Refine.
Close. I like it. I'll take it.
Sorry.
Close. And then, of course, folks over at iRacing, go visit iRacing.com for the world's premier online motorsports simulation. It is iRacing.com. And again, folks, the introductory offer of $9.99 per month gets you started for the first 30 days. After that, it's $13.99 per month. And again, highly, highly, highly recommend. If you like simulation racing, if you want to maybe even try and get into the upper echelon of simulation style racing like the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series, you can go into iRacing.com, get signed up, build up your iRating. And even if you don't do NASCAR, they still have stuff for IndyCar style cars. They've got IMSA style cars. They've got a whole bunch of stuff when it comes to iRacing. Again, iRacing.com. Go check those guys out. And then, of course, the folks over at MyPillow, make sure you head over to mypillow.com/BRR and use the promo code BRR at checkout to get your entire order delivered for free. And
just like Wayne's wonderful slippers he's got on over there.
Oh, yes, my toesies are so comfortable. But again, folks, mypillow.com/BRR. and use the promo code BRR at checkout to get that entire order delivered for free. But on that note here, we have got to step aside. John, we've got to take the first commercial break of the show. And when we come back, we have got some news to touch on here. I'm not going to lie. We're going to save the talk about Bristol until where we would normally have our guest segment. We were hoping to have Natalie Decker on this week, folks, to talk about her late model program, talk about what it's like getting ready to be a mom and be a race car driver at the same time. So, but things didn't work out. She is really hard at work in the shop to get things going, her and husband Derek Lemke. So, who knows? I mean, Natalie's definitely going to be on. I mean, she's got an open invitation to the show, so for all we know, she could probably pop into Discord anytime and be like, "Hi, I'm here."
Her wonderful mother Amy has been communicating with us, and said they're just a little bit busy right now, but we gave her an open invitation, like Wayne said, and you never know when she'll pop in.
Oh yeah, and the best part is, folks, she loves hanging out with all of y'all every single time she's on here. We always have great conversations with Natalie as well. But on that note here, we're going to step aside. We're going to take that first commercial break of the show. And when we come back, we have got NHRA news to touch on. We've got a little bit of IndyCar news. And speaking of other bittersweet moments, John, Dave Blaney's in the news this week.
Yep.
So we'll be touching on all that when we come back, folks.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Burning Rubber is social. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Burning Rubber Radio. Now back to more Burning Rubber.
And we're back. It's Burning Rubber. Producer Wayne, NASCAR Chef John Dix, Andy DeLay, out and about somewhere. Last we heard, he was randomly tied up by the alligators in Florida, demanding the duck for ransom.
Or something like that, Lord.
Yeah, something like that. No, folks. In all honesty, one thing about Andy is we can joke and get away with it here. The duck has become kind of a staple of the show as a little sound effect that we throw in every once in a while. But in all realistic perspective, and just talking straight up to everybody, Andy is actually out on hurricane prep once again because, as everybody knows, he is an officer with the Kenneth City Police Department down in Kenneth City, Florida, just outside of where he lives in Clearwater, Florida. And there is talk that there's another hurricane potentially going to be making either direct impact with Tampa, which would affect Kenneth City and Clearwater, or potentially go as far up as the Panhandle of Florida or Big Bend area, and possibly as early as Wednesday of this week, which would be prior to when most of our radio affiliates are hearing the show, or most of our listeners are hearing the show, possibly Thursday, depending upon what time your radio station airs Burning Rubber Radio. If it's a weekend airing, then obviously it's going to be well after all this has happened. But the thing is, Andy's out saving lives or preparing to save more lives, like he has done so graciously for the last 40 some odd years of his life. And so, seriously, props to you, Andy. Thank you for what you do, brother.
Yep.
But we've got to get on to some news of the week here, folks. And John, I think that shout is really doing some good for some people this year.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what?
and you talk about Antron?
You're damn right. I'm talking about Antron Brown. Back-to-back playoff wins and Wallies for Antron Brown in Top Fuel. And this past weekend, that came at the drag strip at Charlotte Motor Speedway, ZMAX Dragway.
Yeah. I sent him a message and told him, burning rubber, baby.
Burning rubber, baby. And I mean, I guarantee.
Proud of Antron, yeah.
I guarantee you, he is sitting there thinking about that. He's like, those assholes were right.
I'm going to reach out to his PR lady and see if we can get him back.
Yeah, we definitely need to get him back on. And then, folks, like we said, even though this might be our last show on the radio for 2024, again, if we can get him in an interview, we're gonna tape it and put it up on our social media. So
Right.
you'll still get to hear from Antron if we can get him on before the end of 2024, one way or another. Same thing with Natalie. Same thing with any of the drivers that we get on. So. But other bits of news here, John, and I'll tell you what, Antron got back-to-back playoff wins, but guess who is 7 for 7 right now when it comes to the NHRA for wins?
Ooh, tell us, Wayne.
That would be Austin Prock of JFR. 7 straight Wallies right now.
Wow.
When it comes to the NHRA and winning at Charlotte this past weekend. Dallas Glenn, who is somebody who every once in a while you hear some good news about Dallas Glenn. He took home the Pro Stock Wally, and Matt Smith got Pro Stock motorcycles from this past weekend as well. And with that,
That's some good news.
yeah, it really is. Especially for Austin and for Antron, because those are two names that have been on the show, so they can fully
Right.
attest that the Burning Rubber Baby is working for them. And what's hard to believe, though, John, and I'm being completely honest here, is that there is only 4 races left in the NHRA calendar for 2024.
Yep. All the seasons are winding down, Wayne. And
Tell me about it.
It's going to be interesting to see how the last 4 goes for them boys over there and
Yep.
girls. We've had there's some ladies over there that know how to pick them up and put them down. So.
Oh yeah. Had Leah Pruitt not stepped out of the Top Fuel dragster and let her husband Smoke get in there, she'd have probably been out there kicking ass just as much as everybody else is. So
Absolutely.
But you know what, folks, and we talked about this earlier on in the year when that decision was made by Leah and Tony, is that Leah's ready to start a family. And so at that point, Tony decided to step into the Top Fuel car, and he's had enough experience with his Top Alcohol dragster that the NHRA let him apply for his license for Top Fuel, and he got his approval for his Top Fuel license. So he took his wife's place so that she can focus on being ready to start the family and do everything else. And at least somebody for the team is still out there racing and kicking butt and taking names.
Yeah, and he's done pretty good too.
Yeah, he has. He's got a couple of wins on the year, which
Absolutely, yeah.
it further proves that, much like somebody like a Kyle Larson, Tony Stewart is a multi-disciplined racer. So it doesn't matter if it's dirt, it doesn't matter if it's asphalt, it does not matter if it's a drag strip, it doesn't matter where it's at. He can race it.
Absolutely. He used to race Indy. A lot of people forget that. In the bigger series, Indy was the series that he started at before he even came to NASCAR. So.
100%. And then so I mean, he's done IndyCar, he's done dirt cars, he's done sprints, he's done modifieds, he's done NASCAR, he's done NHRA now. And realistically, again, and I mentioned Kyle Larson too, because you can make the comparison accordingly there. Kyle has done IndyCar now. He has been a longtime dirt racer. He does asphalt now in NASCAR for the last, what is it now, almost 8-9 years, something like that, John, I think it is. And actually, no, longer than that even. Damn, it really hasn't been that much longer. Good Lord.
Well, Smoke also rode road courses.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And what I say about that is I actually rode from the hotel to the track with him and his dad, Nelson. And I'm going to tell you something. Woo! I thought we were racing.
Why does that not surprise me when it comes to Tony? It really does not surprise me when it comes to Tony. And but moving on here, one final thing we're going to touch on real quick before we get to our next commercial break and talk a little bit about the round of 12 as we get ready to head into Kansas this weekend. And that being that Dave Blaney, man, you know, I knew Dave was still racing to some degree, and obviously, you know, he's not racing as much as he used to because he is getting up there in age a little bit. But Dave Blaney officially marked his retirement this past weekend, John, on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, excuse me, on Saturday, rather, at Sharon Speedway, which is the track that his family owns in Hartford, Ohio. The former Cup Series racer and National Sprint Car Hall of Famer won the 16th annual Lou Blaney Memorial, which Lou, by the way, is Dave's dad, which remembers his legendary father and raises funds for Alzheimer's and the Alzheimer's Association, and celebrated by retiring in Victory Lane. So congratulations to Dave on that one. And you know what? Seriously, also congrats on retirement. It's long overdue, my friend.
Yep. Congratulations, Dave.
So great stuff for Dave Blaney there, folks. And of course, Ryan didn't do too bad this past weekend either when it comes to Bristol, baby. But we're going to be talking about all of that when we come back, folks. Again, we're going to have the breakdown of everything leading into the round of 12 coming up this weekend at Kansas for both Cup and Xfinity, because Bristol, I'm not going to lie, folks, Bristol really shook things up. We'll talk about it when we come back.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Visit us online at burningrubberradio.com for recipes from the NASCAR chef, John Dix, and more great content.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, that dang old internet, man, you just go on there and point and click, 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 click. It's real easy, man.
Now back to more Burning Rubber Radio.
And we're back. It's Burning Rubber. Producer Wayne, NASCAR chef John Dix, and Andrew DeLay is out on Hurricane Prep this weekend. I think we're just going to call it Hurricane Alligator.
Something like that.
Hurricane Crocodile.
Yeah, he's taking care of some sort of hurricane stuff, but
yeah.
Be safe out there, brother.
Seriously, yes. Be safe out there with everything you're doing there, Andy. And we'll see you back on our socials later this week. And but John, we have got to talk about Bristol, baby.
Mm-hmm. Good race. You know, all over social media how boring it was. But I can tell you something, guys. I talked to a lot of people. I didn't make it this time, but I talked to a lot of people that were there, and there was a lot of comings and goings and a lot of good racing. You know,
There really was.
Unfortunately, the networks seem to want to just show the front runners all the time.
They always do. I mean, that's where their money's
Right.
at, because that's where people are paying the big bucks for.
And Kyle snuck up the show. I mean, he had a good car, but there was a lot of good comings and goings. You know, our buddies over at Stewart Haas, you know, Chase Briscoe, he was extended in the playoffs, and quite a few of them ran real good. How about old Chase Elliott? Man, he finished second. You know, he hasn't been around a lot lately.
Right. Yeah. He's had some issues this year with the playoffs so far. But you know, like you said, Larson did the thing. He came back from having a few issues on pit road throughout the race, and the comment I want to touch on real quick before we really kind of get into the breakdown of everything here, John, that you made mention of, is that how folks were saying it was a boring race all over social media. And, I remember seeing multiple posts on X and not so much on Facebook, but, seeing multiple posts all over social media where folks are like, well, I'm glad I gave up my season tickets for this because this race sucks. And, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, if the race sucks so bad, then why are you even talking about it? Why are you even watching it? Because at that point, clearly you're being two-faced, because if you didn't like what you were seeing, then why the hell were you continuing to watch it? That's what I'm saying. And
right. I look at it this way, Wayne. I just say enjoy it for what it is.
Exactly.
It's good racing. There's a lot going on. The drivers and the crew chiefs are making changes to the cars. They're coming.
Yep.
They're either doing better with their changes or they're going back. But just because one driver has a great car and pretty much stinks up the lead doesn't make it a boring race.
No, it really doesn't. And I mean, look at the way the '90s used to be. You'd have your Earnhardt, you'd have Labonte, you'd have hell, even once in a while you'd have your Jimmy Spencers up there in front, and they would just be completely dominating a race. Leading X amount of hundreds of laps, if not the whole flipping race. And the fact of the matter is, that's how racing was in the '90s before the whole stage break system was implemented and everything else. So,
right.
Folks, if you don't like it, turn it off. It's that simple. Don't. I mean, it's like the old saying goes: if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Right. Rusty Wallace and Darrell Walter, they used to dominate the race. And, a lot of folks don't remember. I believe, if my memory's correct, the last year we didn't have playoffs. Matt Kenseth had already pretty much won the championship about a half a dozen races before it was even over with.
You would be correct, sir. Matt Kenseth already had the championship locked up 6 races before the end of the season. And because if I remember right, he was somewhere, I think, like 1,000 points ahead of the rest of the field. And
absolutely.
So at that point in time, literally, he could have had DNFs for 5 of the 6 races and still won the championship.
I didn't hear anybody complaining about it being boring back then. So,
right.
Unfortunately or fortunately, I think we might have a little too much social media, but we don't. So it's, stick in there with us. We don't have too much, guys. So listen to us. We got it going on. So
right, we're not out here bitching and complaining every week like most folks. So
or trying not to.
Right. Well, there you go. But moving on here. Now that we kind of got that monkey off our back a little bit about people, you just complaining about, how the race turned out and blase, blah. Because again, folks, and we're going to show it to you here because, this is what we do when it comes to, footage and other things like that here. We give you our honest take here. So if you really thought that the race at Bristol from this past weekend was that boring, seriously, take a look at this. And I mean, granted, yes, it's the 3-wide camera view here. So I mean, you're seeing 3 different angles at one time. And I mean, the amount of battles that are going on here. Yes, Kyle is like way out there, but look at there. You got the battle with Ty Gibbs. You've got the battle with who is that? Buescher. You got Briscoe in that mix there, and yeah, Larson. I mean, yes, he had the win by probably a full lap. But still, I mean, it's like you can't deny it that that was Larson's race.
Do you realize, Wayne, there was only 2 DNFs on the whole field?
And see, you know what? And that's what people forget is that typically with Bristol, in most cases, you've got half the field DNF'd.
Absolutely.
And so I don't know. Maybe that's what people thought was boring about it. Is it's like there's not enough ranking. They need to have more action. But the fact is, folks, passing and actual racing without wrecking somebody is also viable action.
It was some good racing. Yep.
And but we gotta we'll move on here because if we get too we're gonna get too involved in it, and I'm gonna say something I might not like.
Not us, Wayne. Come on.
Oh yeah, not us, right? NASCAR already doesn't like talking to us anyway. So, but another big thing we got to talk about here, John, and I really don't get me wrong. I'm happy that Kyle won and guaranteed himself a berth into the round of 12. But the thing I'm not happy about is that MTJ is not going to get a chance to run for that championship for his final season.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. It's, they're all big boys, and it's the big league of racing, and,
Right.
Sometimes, we can all be happy about it, and sometimes we can't. But Martin's had a great career. He don't need to hang his head. He's been a good ambassador of the sport.
And he'll continue to be an ambassador of the sport.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see him win one before the end of the year.
Right, exactly. And but not only is MTJ eliminated from the playoffs, but Ty Gibbs also got himself eliminated too. So that was actually interesting to see how that one all played out here. In fact, actually, I'm going to pull up the playoff app here for NASCAR real quick because I'm gonna go look at the standings because
and if my memory is correct, Suarez, who finished way back, actually made the rest of the playoff.
And of course NASCAR's already
so go figure that one out.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, he did win. He did win that one race to get him into the playoffs originally in the round of 16. But NASCAR, they in their undying wisdom, they've already updated the mobile app with the point standings to show the round of 12, which was not what I was looking for. So let's go. Come on, NASCAR, get your menu working here. Good God Almighty. Good God Almighty.
But, talking about Truex, out of the active drivers, he's one of the top 5 average finishes at Kansas. So there's a good chance he's going to redeem himself and win one.
Right, exactly. And so why is it? Here we go. Maybe if I could just go back to the driver points. Let's see. Can I see playoffs, stage wins, points? Here we go. Points. All right. So going down, down, down. So Ty Gibbs got himself eliminated. Martin Truex got himself eliminated. Brad Keselowski also is eliminated from the playoffs here, as well as Harrison Burton. And I'm not going to lie when I say this, John. And like I said, I'm sad to see MTJ not make the round of 12 because I really wanted to see him do something spectacular for the remainder of the 2024 season here. Right. Harrison Burton, on the other hand, I'm glad he got Wood Brothers their 100th win. I really am. I'm happy he got Wood Brothers their 100th win at Daytona this year, but I was not expecting anything miraculous out of him for the playoffs.
No. I feel the same way about Brad Keselowski as I do about Martin Truex. They're trying hard over there to get that team up, and they've been running pretty good this year.
Yep.
But it is what it is. So we'll be on for the rest of the races and beyond the next year.
Yep, 100%. And but your top 12 folks heading into Kansas this weekend in the opening round of the round of 12. Larson reassumes the top spot in the points. Seabell is second, Reddick third, William Byron fourth, Ryan Blaney fifth. And again, super congrats to Ryan Blaney on a great run this past weekend at Bristol. The Hamster himself, Dana Hamlin, is in sixth place. Chase Elliott unchanged in seventh. Joey Logano falls a couple of spots down to eighth. Austin Cindric still in the playoffs. Daniel Suarez, like you said, John, still in the playoffs. Alex Bowman in 11th. And on the cut line once again, ironically, he finds himself at the cut line again, is one Chase Briscoe.
Yep. Well, I tell you what, Wayne, to me, the biggest story this year of disappointment is Joey Logano.
Yeah. He won those couple of races, and since then he hasn't done anything.
Yeah. And barely won those races.
But yeah, no, like you said, John, Joey, he won his couple of races, and but other than that, he hasn't really done much in 2024. And I mean, who knows? Maybe the round of 12 is that wake up call that he needs. So we'll see what happens.
Well, a lot of times he does run better in the later in the year. So
yeah, he does.
We'll we'll see what happens.
Yeah, most definitely. But then one last one we're going to touch on here real quick before we get ready to go to our next commercial break of the show here. Super congrats, speaking of that shirt you got on there, John Boy, to Cole Custer and Stewart Haas Racing. And their finale was Bristol for the regular season this year. And with that being the case here, Cole Custer secures the regular season championship for Stewart Haas Racing and also wins the Food City 300 this past weekend.
Yeah, and you talk about a non-boring race. If I remember right, he had an issue the first part of the race, and I think he hit the wall or something like in the first couple laps.
Something like that, yeah. But it's like Darlington. You get that Bristol stripe, and it seems like it either makes you better or not at all. But you know what, folks, we're gonna of course. The one thing we love about this show here is we can show you guys some video footage here, and you watch the final lap here of the Food City 300 from this past weekend, and I mean, just watching Cole Custer dominate like he did in the final lap here, John, it's a beautiful thing. It really is.
Right.
And there he comes right across the start-finish line. Cole Custer gets the thing. Sheldon Creed second. Chandler Smith takes home third place, and again, could not be happier for Stewart Haas Racing.
Yeah, our buddy Chandler had a good race. And speaking of our buddies, how about Dale Jr., man? You know, the first part of the race, he had to come in and change his helmet, had all kind of issues, and he finished, somewhere in the top 10, wasn't it?
I think about sixth, yeah, overall. I think it was like sixth place that he managed to finish.
What a good run for him. Congratulations, Dale.
But now, you know what, something else that I actually saw him with a press conference this past weekend as well before the Xfinity race, where, you know, this is the one and only race that he normally runs every single year. But he made the announcement official this past weekend before the Xfinity race that because the sponsor commitment is no longer there moving into 2025, that is effectively going to be his last race for a while. So he's not going to be racing the Bristol race in 2025 next year unless things change. Yeah,
well, if the sponsor comes along, he'll be there. You know that as well as I do, Wayne.
Oh yeah.
But you know, Dale's got so much pull, he can get some sponsors. I'm not really too worried about that.
Yeah, exactly. So we ain't got to worry about that one. But just a quick rundown here of the Xfinity playoffs for their round of 12 here as we go into things. Cole Custer, again, as we mentioned, is the regular season champion. So he automatically goes in. And then, let's see, where was the rest of the list at here? I hate when I have to... folks, you know, I come prepared for this stuff, but even then, sometimes I have to dig through... I still have to dig through a whole thing here. But as far as the round of 12 for Xfinity, Justin Allgaier, because of all the wins and race wins and stage wins, he'll start number one as far as the round of 12. Cole Custer, your regular season champion, second. Austin Hill, third. Chandler Smith, and a name that, man, I'll tell you what, for a rookie season, John, he is off to an ass-kicking start, and that being Shane Van Gisbergen. He made the round of 12. Jesse Love, Sam Mayer, Riley Herbst made it in, and Sheldon Creed is in. AJ Allmendinger in once again. Sammy Smith, so another JRM car makes it in. And the one guy who I saw the article on last week, and I could not be happier for him, is Parker.
Lord, don't get me started on that commentator there, Wayne. Lord.
But yeah, needless to say, good old Parker Klickerman, he made the round of 12 as well. So
yeah, good for Parker.
Seriously good stuff for Parker, because he was pretty much locked in regardless of what happened. So again, really proud of him for sticking with it and kicking butt and taking names. Actually, speaking of kicking butt and taking names, we've got to kick some butt and take some names ourselves here, John. We gotta walk outside the studio here and get that spit fired up because you got a recipe coming.
Yes, sir. Got a good one, Wayne.
Ooh, I'm already looking forward to it. Folks, we're going to step aside, and when we come back here, we're going to have the NASCAR chef, John Dix, And the recipe of the week.
What can we learn from a child?
That spreading joy
is more important than a trophy.
That when we help others,
we heal ourselves.
That with a little love,
we can make the biggest impact.
At Speedway Children's Charities,
our mission
is simple.
Help every child we can.
Because all children deserve joy.
And hope.
And love.
And if one child is still in need,
then there's still work to do.
Because their future
is our future.
And there's still so much they can teach us.
The grill is fired up, and the chef has something good cooking.
Oh, you're cooking, Frankie!
It's the NASCAR chef, John Dix, and more Burning Rubber.
And we're back. It's Burning Rubber. Producer Wayne, NASCAR chef John Dix, and John, we go from talking about boring racing to actually quite entertaining racing. I mean, it's just folks that have nothing better to do than want to bitch and complain. And yes, folks, you heard me say it out loud. I'm sorry. That racing, you saw the videos that we posted or that we pulled from this past weekend at Bristol. Realistically, yeah, Larson had a hell of a lead, but you know what? It's Bristol, baby. And
yep.
But I'll tell you what, though, we went from getting hungry watching the racing to time to get fed here, and the NASCAR chef John Dix has got a recipe that I'm not gonna lie. I saw it this morning, folks, or this afternoon, this evening, wherever you're listening to us at on the radio here. Again, by the way, our last show on the radio for the foreseeable future, anyway. But John,
guys, I will be posting recipes on our Facebook page. So, keep looking, keep eating, and keep hitting me up, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And like you said, Wayne, today we are doing a fun recipe. It's called pizza cupcakes.
And folks, you look at that picture right there to the right of the NASCAR chef on screen here if you're watching us on YouTube or Rumble. Folks listening on the radio, youtube.com/Burning Rubber Radio, rumble.com, search for Burning Rubber Radio. But John, that picture over there, I need my Homer Simpson salivation sound over that.
Put your bib on so you don't drool over yourself there, Wayne. Anyway, we're going to start with 1 8-ounce can of refrigerated crescent rolls, a half a cup of pizza sauce, 1 cup of shredded mozzarella cheese, a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and whatever your favorite toppings are. And guys, this can be a lot of fun with your kids because not everybody likes the same topping on your pizzas, so you can do different toppings on each one of them and mix and match them. What you're going to do, guys, you're going to preheat your oven to 375 and lightly grease or spray a muffin pan. Roll out the dough and cut it into 8 equal squares. Now you're going to press each square into the muffin cups, but make sure that the dough comes up and covers the side, and that's going to give you your crust for the pizza bite. Ooh. All right. Now we're going to place about 1 teaspoon or tablespoon of pizza sauce in each one of the cups. Sprinkle the mozzarella cheese in there, and then add again whatever topping you like. You can mix and match. You can make them plain. The ones on the screen obviously are pepperoni, but do them however you want. And then what you're going to do, guys, right before you put them in the oven, you want to sprinkle a little bit of the garlic powder on them and cook them for about 12 to 15 minutes, again at 375, until the dough is golden brown. Let them cool a little bit. Pop them out of the pan and serve them. And folks, it's going to be tasty and fun to make.
And folks, the only thing that's even worth listening to after that is
really the only word for it is.
And John, I'm not wrong.
Yep. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun. And guys, if you need to get a hold of me, it's john@brrtv.net. And send me your recipes, and we're going to put them up on social media. We're going to put them up on our Facebook page, and we might even do a few TikTok videos. And we'll have a lot of fun. But, send me your recipes, your snide remarks.
Yep.
Whatever you want, just send it to me. And we're big boys. We can handle it, Wayne.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can handle it. We can have a lot of fun with it. And realistically, folks, that is one thing that we do have in the works is some mobile style recipes from the NASCAR chef John Dix. We've been working on testing out some stuff in the transitional phase to get ready for the new podcast coming in 2025 that will, in essence, allow us to actually put recipes up on Facebook Reels or TikTok or whatever the case might be. And the hope is one day eventually we're going to get the NASCAR chef in his actual kitchen cooking stuff for us.
That'll be a lot of fun.
I think it will. But on that note here, though, folks, we do need to step aside. We need to take that final commercial break of the show. And when we come back, speaking of news to talk about, John, we have got... we still got some news. F1 to talk about, MotoGP to talk about, and then we got to get in picks for Kansas coming up at, well, some point in the show this week. And and by the way, folks, if you didn't see the video, I'm going to say it real quick here. Actually, no, you know what? I'm going to say it until we come back. But it's something, if you didn't see it this past weekend, we're going to talk about it when we come back.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50%, and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Burning Rubber is social. Follow us on X at twitter.com/BRR_radio. Now back to more Burning Rubber.
And we're back. It's Burning Rubber. Producer Wayne, NASCAR chef John Dix, and I'm still salivating over those pizza cupcakes there, John.
Yeah, they're good, guys. You know, try them out and let me know what you think.
Right, definitely try them out. Let the NASCAR chef know, because I got a weird feeling I'm gonna probably go bake some of my own this week here too. Because I'll tell you what, folks, I have done a whole lot to lose a whole lot of weight this year. Like this is probably the thinnest I've looked all year, and I'm not gonna lie. Every time I see a recipe from John, I feel like I gained 25 pounds again, because I know I'm gonna want to eat a whole lot of it. But real quick here, folks, if you didn't get a chance to see it this past weekend here, as everybody knows, the NASCAR or the motorsports enthusiast John DeRidgeris, he is on his honeymoon, and so we told him to stay on vacation, like enjoy time with his new bride, right? And God love him, he still wanted to go to work, John. He tried to make pics while he was standing in front of the Colosseum in Rome. And so
good for him,
right? And I imagine it from the way it looked like his wife actually did the taping for him while he was sitting there just talking away real quick. John, we love you. Enjoy your honeymoon, dagnabbit. He kind of got mad at me. He's like, why didn't I see the pics of the show this week? And I'm like, because you're on vacation, dork. But we did put them up on social media, folks. So you got to see the pics on Thursday when they went out this past weekend for Bristol ahead of time, and I had to get that out there because John and I are buddies, and so it's just much like me and Andy and me and John Dix are all friends. Like we gotta bust each other's balls once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there you go, John DeRidgeris. I just busted your balls. And that sounded so dirty. But moving on here to news of the week, we got to get a couple of last-minute headlines in here before we get ready to make picks coming up for Kansas this week. And Formula One, John. They were over in Singapore this past weekend, and the Singapore Grand Prix. And man, I'll tell you what, Lando Norris, he's slowly notching away at Max Verstappen's points lead.
Yep, absolutely, Wayne.
And so Lando gets the win this past weekend in Singapore. And in rather dominating fashion here, John, he won by an impressive 20.9 seconds over Verstappen, making the latter's advantage now just 52 points with 6 races remaining.
Ooh, that's going to get good.
It's going to get pretty heated. And you know what? I'm here for it. I got the Michael Jackson popcorn meme ready. I got all of it ready, John. We're going to enjoy the remainder of the F1 season here, just like we're going to enjoy the remainder of the NASCAR season and also the remainder of the NHRA season. And then one last headline to touch on here real quick, and that being MotoGP. And Enea Bastianini from Ducati Lenovo this past Sunday won the Gran Premio Pramac dell'Emilia Romagna.
Okay. I believe you, Wayne.
So MotoGP, much like the motorsports enthusiast John DeRogeris, they were over in Italy this past weekend here. The only difference is MotoGP was in Mazzano, Italy, and I'm pretty sure our buddy Alex Pagnon could tell us all about Mazzano, but yeah, either way here, yeah, and again, I love sitting here trying to pronounce some of these names. Like I feel like I do a much better job than Andy anyway when it comes to pronouncing these names. But if you look at it here, folks, it literally says the Gran Premio Pramac dell'Emilia Romagna. So, just because I'm curious here, John, and I know our buddy Alex Pagnon could tell us a whole lot when it comes to Italy as far as what his version of the translation would mean, but because we don't have a way to get a hold of Alex right now, we're going to use the Apple Translate app, folks, and you can see it on the video on YouTube right here. If you look into the camera, I've got my translator app right here, and we're going to do this here. Gran Premio Pramac dell'Emilia Romagna. And so, let's see here. Based on this, the translation of that is the virtually the Gran Premio Pramac of Emilia. So that it sounds exactly kind of like what it is.
Right.
And that's it's great to know that they didn't give us a pain in the ass translation.
Oh, come on, Wayne. That'll never happen.
Oh, trust me. I'm still going to wait for the day that Andy goes through and tries to say that, because he's going to be like,
quack, quack.
Folks, we got to get ourselves on to picks now for Kansas here. And again, the motorsports enthusiast is on vacation, enjoying the rest of his honeymoon. Which I've got to get a hold of him too and let him know what's going on with this being our last official show on the radio, and that we're going to be taking a break for the remainder of the NASCAR season. So any videos that he sends will be going up on our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, all that fun stuff. And
make sure you check them out, guys, because it's really good.
Yeah. The Motorsports Enthusiast does some really good work. And anyway here, John, on to picks now for Kansas and round of 12. Who you thinking, bud?
Well, I kind of wore this shirt for a reason. So as long as my boy Chase Briscoe is in the hunt, that's who I'm picking for the rest of the year.
Chase Briscoe. Who's he going for? But I'll tell you what, though, honestly, it's a good pick, John, with Chase Briscoe. But just know you got your 5 picks with him, and then after that, you got to pick somebody else. But either way, that's how that one goes. I'm thinking here, and just kind of looking at the top 12 in the playoffs and who is usually the strongest at Kansas. I mean, Larson is definitely strong there. Hamlin has been strong there. Chase is kind of 50-50 when it comes to Kansas. Alex Bowman is good at Kansas as well. Not too many other potential options there. So if I had to go with a dark horse potential to win Kansas this weekend, I'm going to go with Seabell.
Oh, that's a good pick. He runs good at those big tracks. So
he does do good at the 1.5s, and that's the thing. Like, I've noticed with him sometimes, you call him a dark horse and he'll sneak up and he'll do something.
Mm-hmm.
So big things predicted for Seabell for this weekend coming up here at Kansas. But again, folks, it's bittersweet, and I'm not gonna cry, I promise.
I am.
But folks, after 17 long years on the radio, this is going to be our final sign off, and but it is that time, my friend.
Yep.
And
never thought I'd see it coming, but here we are.
Yeah, never thought we'd see it coming, folks. But after 17 amazing years on the radio, and I mean, we've got a lot of people to thank for everything that has gone on in those 17 years. A lot of radio stations to thank too. 101.9 The Bandit, WKFC FM, 96.7 Cool Gold, both out of London, Kentucky. Two of our first original affiliates, High Speed Radio, my radio station when it was on air, WNIH Highway 40 Country, all the way fast forwarding up to now with our amazing radio affiliates, WTUC in Toccoa, Georgia, WTHU in Thurmont, Maryland, Sunshine 96.7 FM out of Florida, the Florida Sports Stream, Melted Faces Radio, the Performance Motorsports Network. Folks, if we've missed your radio station, I do apologize. It's been a long list of folks that have been involved in the show over the last 17 years. And then, of course, all of the people that have been involved in making this show what it is over 17 years. John, yourself, Andy, Charles Robinson, Bobby Dale Earnhardt, Jeremy Taylor, Taylor Burris, Zachary Murtis, Mike the Jackman Martz, John Foggy Ryan.
Coach DeLorean?
Huh?
Coach DeLorean?
Yeah, Coach DeLorean. Oh my God, we're back to the future. And well, actually, one other person I forgot about too. We forgot about Guido. We haven't. Guido was on here many years ago. Ben Guido, and but folks, there have been so many people that have been involved in this show over 17 years. It's a countless list to thank, and I'm sure we'll be able to break it down a lot more on social media this week. So do be on the lookout for it. But for the final time, oh man, I'm trying to do everything I can to not have to sign off here, John, because this is emotional, man. But for the final time here, folks, the fast 60 minutes in motorsports. The final time on the radio. Our podcast is coming back in 2025, so don't go away from us, folks. We're going to be coming back with more content on the digital audio side and video side in 2025. Social media is going to be around up until that point, so we'll still be there, so you can still hang out with us, still interact with us. But again, for the final time here, folks, for the NASCAR chef John Dix, for Andy DeLay, I'm producer Wayne, and until 2025, burning rubber, baby.
Burning rubber, baby.
Burning Rubber Radio is a production of White Lightning Entertainment with studios in Statesville, North Carolina, and was brought to you by Drive Refine. It's more than driver coaching, it's Drive Refine. Visit driverefine.com to get signed up today. This week's show was produced by Wayne Owens. Remember to visit burningrubberradio.com for news, recipes, and more great content. Burning Rubber Radio can be seen on Rumble, YouTube, or wingding.tv and heard on radio stations nationwide. Any use of the accounts or descriptions contained in this broadcast must be the express written permission of White Lightning Entertainment.